Rolling. Yep, cool.
Let's talk about the technical marvel that is Umbraco. Why do we love Umbraco so much technically? I mean, we've been working with it for like 15 years, some of us, but
Developers love Umbraco, don't they?
Developers love Umbraco.
Yeah. And I think there's a good reason for that for everyone as well, not just developers, right? The reason developers like it is because it's kind of more of a blank slate to start with, which sounds like a downside, but it means that you can build what is needed. You're not working around anything that's already there. You've just got this basic concept of stuff is content, and then you build up from there. And I suppose there are some things built in from the start. I mean, it's very good at rendering websites, but that's not the only thing it'll do. But you're not working around these things. You're just going blank slate, which means you can build exactly what's required. Yeah. And there are ways to not have a blank slate as well. So we have, packages we can pull in. If we are doing something repetitive or common, there's code there, there's knowledge there that we can reuse, but actually
internal baselines, starter kits, etc. We can build off as a jump point to get those common things out the way.
But it's the unique stuff that is actually unique rather than we've got to make this compromise here or break down this thing that's already been built into something we can use.
And it's massively flexible. I mean, you'd expect from any web framework platform like for you to build any kind of website you want on it, but have it do anything you want to do, actually have the CMS work the way you want it to. Like Umbraco is pluggable, bits of functionality can be entirely replaced if you want it to, and it's really easy for us as developers to go in and do that, whether that's sort of C# code or how look and feel in the back office even. You can change anything as well as build anything.
And unlike the other CMS platforms where the front end and the markup might actually be dictated as well, we literally have control over every single element that's put out on the page, so we can do anything, which is awesome. I think back to some of the larger sites we've done with big integrations, one that had circa 20 integrations with various payment providers. It had an e-commerce element, so people could buy subscriptions and pay for services, but also pay individual users through the same platform, which is just mind-blowing to think that you could do that through a CMS that gives you nothing out the box. And then powering a mobile application, push notification system to manage all of the content of those, a big, quite complex reporting section in the CMS for with fancy graphs and a way of exporting those as a Google, as an Excel sheet and all that sort of stuff. These are incredibly complex things, and we were able to do it very easily, and something that looks nice for the client, is easy for them to use. I just think that's wonderful. That it can become not just the CMS as a way of you managing pages on a website, but become about managing far more of your digital estate all in that one place.
And it's still viable to use for a brochureware website if you want to, right? And actually that's then a great selling point in terms of, well, if your business is going to grow, if you want to do something new or bigger or better, you don't have to change the platform. It can grow with you in any way that your business grows.
We do everything from like single page, holding page, website coming soon type thing. It's a few images, barely even needs a CMS, all the way up to sites with hundreds of thousands of content items and media in multiple languages, or maybe even multiple websites living alongside each other with their own permissions, their own editors. It can become incredibly advanced, and you can configure it to an nth degree and customize it to an nth degree too, which is a delight to work with.
It's not just content either, right? So Umbraco plays really well with the wider ecosystem of .NET. So it's extendable in the same ways, whereas some platforms might lock you down. You've got to do it this way. Actually, we've got the whole of ASP.NET to play with as well, and we can link that into Umbraco where we want to, keep it separate where we don't want it to. Which means we can do things based on performance and how this feature needs to work, which is really nice.
As well, like Microsoft does a lot of work around building some powerful authentication mechanisms into .NET that we can then leverage in Umbraco to create huge membership systems that integrate maybe with an external auth provider or external CRMs. And it's a strange blurred line in modern Umbraco where we're kind of doing just .NET development. Umbraco's not really getting in the way. We're not learning any Umbraco concepts here. We're just building against what .NET supports, and Umbraco glues it all together really nicely.
CDXP, as
CDXP.
you'd have heard a couple of years ago.
Yes, but digital experience platform being this concept of having one central hub that you manage all these different aspects of your system through. Umbraco's got headless features fairly recently, so the delivery API is a new feature in Umbraco since V12 that allows content to be requested via a REST API and means you can integrate a mobile app with fairly limited code or build static sites.
And that can be alongside your regular website rendering, or it can be, you can turn off the website and just have that API.
Yes, and so you've got that, but so your front end can be completely decoupled. It doesn't have to. Nothing about how Umbraco works has to dictate how that works if you don't want it to. It's great, and at any point in the development of the app, you can change. Right?
Yeah.
We've done that recently. We've gone from a fairly traditional monolithic Umbraco website and said, well, we'll take the front end out of that. It's now a headless Astro build that's for that client fits much better. It's much more efficient, and that can scale the way they need it to. It's I think a great way of working, and having all the options on the table all the time is really helpful.
For sure, and I mean static sites and the delivery API also allows for this other frontier of scalability and flexibility. So we can deploy our sites as effectively a static site. Those sites load instantly, near instantly when you visit them. There's none of this progressive loading or waiting for the page to come into the cache like you might have in Umbraco sometimes. And it's just instant, really scalable because you can host it on very cheap like CDNs instead of on vast infrastructure.
And that's closer to your user as well, the CDN. So it's
exactly
not only have you got the performance benefits of not having a server having to think too hard, you've also got that data not having to travel too far.
For sure. Much better user experience.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about scalability, of course, Umbraco has a lot of options actually on the table there. In our typical setup, whilst we are doing headless lately, we've more or less stuck with the traditional hosting model, being it's a ASP.NET Core based website, and we like to host that on infrastructure like on Azure or on Umbraco Cloud. I really love the way Umbraco plays nice with Azure. It just sort of works on web apps and allows for near infinite auto scaling based on request metrics that we can configure, so it can scale up to a client's needs and scale right back down to near zero and cost them only for what they're using, which is exceptional.
Yeah, and is important for sites with a lot of traffic or doing a lot of heavy lifting or have a lot of members. There's membership and stuff involved. Being able to scale that bit where the front end isn't just the front end, it's a proper application that users are interacting with and using all the time. Being able to scale that is hugely important, and the fact that Umbraco can just do it when you throw it at Azure with the right settings is really helpful.
What would we say to someone that's then looking to choose how they might build their Umbraco site? Is it going to be a headless site? Is it going to be a traditional site? What approach do you take, and then where do you host it? Like, what are the options? There's a lot.
So one of the key things I think is to not jump on a trend for no good reason. So we don't want to be using the latest and greatest fashions just for the sake of it. So we don't want to be building headless sites that don't need to be headless, that don't need that infrastructure and that level of complexity, unless you want the benefits of a static site. Or you need to use it in your app and that sort of thing. And it's similar things with hosting platforms. We're not cloud hosting because it's cool and trendy thing to do. It's because that's what
it makes
clients
sense.
need. Yeah, absolutely.
But we equally deploy sites to people's servers that are sitting in, even bare metal servers sitting in data centers or virtual machines. Some stuff to AWS even. We're using a lot of platforms, and Umbraco Cloud being their managed Azure-based hosting platform, but managed by Umbraco, and they handle minor upgrades and security patching, etc. for you, which is a lot of benefits.
And the ability, we take it for granted, but the ability to deploy the same code base in all of those situations is actually not that common.
No.
I, as a developer, can pull down the code base, I can hit run, and it's all there and it runs. That exact same code base we can deploy to a bare metal server and it's going to work.
True.
That exact same code base we can deploy to Azure and it's going to work. The only difference is configuration, actually. And that's, I don't have to have this. I have to have all this orchestration to make all these various bits of the app work. It will just work in those environments.
I think what brought the three of us together probably is community, and that's a really big part of Umbraco's technical journey as well. You've got a lot of passionate people that also want to see the product do more advanced things and do more cool things, and so you've got a really active community, a few 100,000 people working with Umbraco who are contributing back, building plugins, building open source software that we can use, and we obviously build and release some of our own as well for our needs that we use on our client websites, or just things to scratch an itch, a thing that we think should be done or could be better in Umbraco, and you do it for fun. And I really love that aspect too of the open source community.
Yes, yeah, and the fact that it's open source is what enables there to be a community, right? There's no direct financial gain from anyone doing any of these things, but I think there's a bigger game down more.
Yeah, I think there's certainly it's an ecosystem that needs supporting. So if you are working with Umbraco, supporting by contributing back or attending community events or supporting package authors is a great thing to do. But clients benefit directly from that as well by getting some of these amazing features that other people have created that we can then stand on their shoulders and use. And equally, we can learn from those people at events through the work they're putting out to build great custom things for our clients too. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone on people's GitHubs and just swiped a couple of lines of code because they've done something really cool.
But that's great. And the packages, I don't know about you, I think most of the packages I use or have made don't start off life as, I really need a package design. There's a really simple problem that needs solving, and then I get talking to someone, you've had that same problem. Well, actually, it wouldn't take much, thankfully, because Umbraco is pluggable in that way. It wouldn't take much to extract that code into a plugin, and then suddenly you've got something that 2 people, 3 people can use, and
that level of community expands beyond just building packages, right? So I've had conversations with people that we've met through this open source community by contributing or through meetups or events, who will come and ask a question. They, how would you do this? And then sort of sharing that knowledge on a more one-to-one basis can lead to things like packages and plugins, but it could lead to just the project you happen to be working on at the moment, or bigger conversations within Umbraco and the future of Umbraco and how that changes in the future, because Umbraco is part of the community too, right there.
I love that point. Umbraco is so flexible, and so inherently everybody working with it is doing things slightly differently and doing things tailored to their clients and the way they want to work. And there is a lot of value in sharing that experience, open sourcing bits of it if you can, putting those out there, and maybe other people can benefit, or equally we can benefit from what they're sharing too. I think there's large parts of what I see in the sites we build today that are inspired from things other people do, and likewise we speak at events and try to inspire people that, based on our knowledge of building sites for large scale solutions, that's something that maybe other people don't come across on a daily basis.
And I think like blogging as well is that's also open source contributions, right? So you might come across this really niche problem and you just want to document it just for the sake of your future self, more than anything else. But then you get people coming up to you at events saying, "Oh, thanks for that. That was really helpful." And other people, we read other people's blogs all the time that are just solving this one little niche problem we're having. And it's that kind of attitude of share these things, right? And we can all make our lives a bit easier.
For sure. Well, in summary, Umbraco's flexible, scalable, open source, friendly, and we love it for all of those reasons. We can build everything from a basic solution all the way up to a multilingual, e-commerce, auto-scaled, Azure hosted, fully bespoke with loads of integrations, powering an app with a headless API and beyond. It's really incredible.